Jacob.
Thank you.
Yep.
Nice to meet you. It's Abney for Devils in Detail. So what have you seen from the guys who the Sun Devils program have acquired through the transfer portal today, and how they are bringing in like the type of leadership that they're looking for the new season?
Yeah, we are very excited about the talent that we brought in. And often as coaches, when watching film, it's hard to decipher who's which. They kind of look like clones. When you look at our secondary, when you look at our wide receivers, we kind of going into year 4 have certain prototypical achievements at some positions that's reflected in day 1 of practice.
How do you like your new position, and can you kind of talk about the transition, how different it is?
Yeah, I'm excited about this opportunity. It allows me to kind of have a little bit more powwows with Dillingham as far as our program and our vision and how we're achieving our goals from a roster management standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, etc. And then from the DB standpoint, I just get unbelievable opportunity to get more of a knowledge base working with the safeties and nickels now. And we talk about the experience in our rooms from just a coaching standpoint. You got, Coach Meat, who's probably going to have the highest paid corner in the NFL once Christian Gonzalez re-signs his contract. You talk about David Gibbs working with our safeties. He's coached John Lynch, he's coached Champ Bailey, and everybody knows Coach Walker and who he's coached. So when you talk about the wealth of knowledge in that room, I don't necessarily have one Mr. Miyagi and Coach Walker now. We got Meat, who's done it for a long time, and we got Coach Gibby. So I'm a firm believer that iron sharpens iron, and it's a skill to keep game. So who better than to all have that many people putting their heads together when it comes to trying to achieve a really successful back end group.
Replacing a lot of starters on the back end, how do you feel about the transfer guys that you brought in and where you're at in terms of your ability to compete at the same level?
Yeah, we're excited about the opportunity that we had this offseason to bring more DBs in our room. If people don't know, the past 3 years here, we've been operating with 5 scholarship cornerbacks. Now that number is 8. So it gives us a lot more opportunities to give the young guys rep, take heat off veterans, and it gives us an opportunity to not have a lapse in practice from a talent standpoint. We talk about bringing Ashton Stamps, who was second in the SEC in PBUs. You're bringing a guy that has a wealth of experience. You're losing guys with experience. So to bring in him and to bring in Charles Brantley, you're bringing in guys that have played the game, so it's not something new for them. And then on top of that, you've stocked the pond underneath them with prototypical underclassmen. So when you look at these guys on the hoof, we're long, we're athletic. I told somebody a few weeks back, it looks like a basketball court. When we talk about our secondary, we talk about bringing in Lyric Rawls, we talk about bringing in Josiah, we're bringing in a wealth of experience. So we got veterans, and then we got young guys that on the surface level look just as talented as some of the veteran players on this team.
How much did the success of what you guys have done defensively the last couple years allow you to be able to make that appeal in the transfer portal?
The marketing of this place is unreal. Having the opportunity of having Texas-based schools come visit us and play games in Sun Devil Stadium this past season allowed the word to kind of spread and the word to kind of get out. The success of Keith Abney is also a huge marketing tool. And then, look at this place. If you're a young kid between 18 and 22, a lot of players that jump in the transfer portal kind of know the meat and potatoes of what college football is, and they kind of have a little bit more tunnel vision of what they're looking for in school. And I can assure you from a transfer portal standpoint, there's no bigger appeal if I was making a decision than from a football standpoint and then from a social experience standpoint. If everybody has resources nowadays, the city that I live in is also going to be a huge part of my college experience. So we're very confident of what we're pushing.
I was going to ask you about Keith, given the fact that you coached him for 3 years and where he's now and getting ready for the draft. How proud are you of him, and what have you seen in his progression from year 1 to year 3?
Yeah, I'm very proud of Keith, but it's also a testament of what Coach Dillingham wants to build here. We want Sun Devils. We were Keith's only Power 4 opportunity, so for him to get this opportunity so close to signing day, he treated this place like it was a blue blood, like it was Ohio State, like it was Alabama. So every day meant something to Keith Abney, and Keith Abney has an opportunity to be, probably the first 3-and-done defensive prospect from the state of Texas to hear his name called at the draft in a few weeks. That alone will also be a huge marketing ploy of us continue to build our Texas Tempe pipeline, because now we have living, tangible examples of the high school kid, the transfer portal kid that's come here and put his train on the tracks, set the ship the right way, and now he's about to hear his name called in the draft.
Coach, Keith navigates that draft process. How connected have you remained with him, and what would be your message to teams that are thinking about selecting?
Yeah, very connected with Keith Abney. He's actually training out here in Arizona. Obviously, Keith, from a draft standpoint, he doesn't have the prototypical size that a lot of teams are looking for. So from a prospect standpoint, people may look at Keith Abney and say the ceiling is not high. I view it different. I view his floor is exceptional. And once Keith makes it to the NFL, he's going to be a guy that is going to continue dreaming. He's going to be a guy that's going to want to be a pivotal player, not only on the field, but within that organization.
Coach, speaking of, you got a new title now. How was the first day of practice with your new role and what you're doing? How exciting was it?
Very exciting. It's our first time to actually do football and see our athletes run around with helmets and actually play football. So to see that is giving us a lot of optimism. These next 14 practices, we're very excited of the haul we've had this offseason, and we like what the talent looks like on the field so far.
Coach, speaking of the Texas to Tempe pipeline, Montana Warren's flashed at a lot of different spots throughout his college career. What have you seen from him over the offseason, and do you have anything particularly in mind as to where he'll primarily play this season?
Yeah, I think Montana's a guy that's been in our system going on year 4. He's versatile. Being that he's played nickel, he's played free, he's played strong, so he definitely has an opportunity for us when we put this puzzle together to have multiple spots to fit Montana within our defense and what we're trying to achieve. Montana's tremendous. He's a guy that's likable in the locker room. We joke and kid about the buddy system through the transfer portal, but Montana Warren and Lyric Rawls played high school football together. So when the portal opens up and Lyric has that person on our roster that can kind of give them a living testament of our program, that helps us in acquiring top talent across the country to kind of be a little bit more valid, because time is scarce. You only have so much time to make a decision when guys jump in the transfer portal. So Montana's a huge piece of what we're building here at Arizona State, and he's also somebody that's vital on the recruiting trail as well.
Bryan, how do you, with 50 new guys almost 50 new guys on the roster, Kenny talked about mindset being the most important thing this spring. How do you pull all those guys together in 15 practices?
Yeah, I think mindset is something that's also evaluated during the recruiting process or during the speed dating of the transfer portal, if you will. So you just got to have hard questions. You got to have honest, transparent conversations with guys, and you have to trust your discernment in such a small window. In high school, I can go to his high school, I can talk to the lunch lady, I can talk to the teacher, I can go to the rival school. In the portal, everything is speed dating. It's like Tinder. So you got to get to the meat and potatoes as fast as possible.
On Tuesday, when Kenny Dillingham was speaking to the media about your new role, he mentioned how he believes you could become a head coach someday. What does hearing that type of praise from him mean?
I'm grateful for Dilly. Obviously, that's a big-time goal of myself. And I just want to continue building and growing under his leadership. Obviously it's flattering. Obviously it provides me a little bit of validation of what we're building here. But, I just am focused on Arizona State right now. Obviously I got long-term aspirations, but I'm a where my feet are kind of person.
There's a lot of competition going on right now. What are some leadership traits that will take what people are doing on the field to the next level?
Yeah, we want guys that have emotional maturity, emotional stability. A lot of stuff happens on the football field. It's kind of like a boxing match. You come out of the ring after round 1, you got 30 seconds to kind of talk to your guy in the corner, and then you're back out there on the ring. So a guy that understands that you got to prepare for chaos in college football. There's a lot of chaotic moments. The guys that have composure, the guys that are able to let the next play go and move on to the next, those are some of the critical qualities outside of talent that help you have competent football players to where you're not, busting coverages and stuff like that.
Coach, when you mentioned high school recruits and talking to their rival schools, what would you want to hear from a rival school about it?
Yeah, how do you prep against him? Did you game plan against him? Was he a factor? Was he not a factor? If there's anything off the field or something within that region or that area of city or town, he may be privy to such information. So you really just got to cast the net out and see what all you can gather from the spring evaluation period, the winter evaluation period, when you go to his high school games. There's so many variables you can kind of get information from to give you who the person is.
Thanks,
Thanks, BC.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.